yourself a cold one.
They strike 'em, huh?
And listen to Ross Tucker break down the top college prospects on another tasty edition of The College Draft.
Yeah, it's Daddy Soda time here on the College Draft Podcast, presented, of course, as always, by DraftKings. Yes, we are recording the morning of Christmas Eve because that's the way me and my guy Emory Hunt roll. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman. Want to make sure that you know about Emory's winning week. He had another winning week betting college football, as well as get you ready for all the bowl games over the course of this week. There's a lot that we need to get to. Check me out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. We're at Ross Tucker Pod. You can always watch the show if you want. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Speaking of YouTube, Emory has been killing it on YouTube for years. Just search Football Game Plan on YouTube. That's how you get all of his incredible content. At FBall Game Plan on Twitter, and then footballgameplan.com/2024 draft guide. If you haven't already purchased it, you need to do that. You really need to do that because it's that time. I mean, it's bowl season. The bowl games will be over before you know it, and all we'll be talking about is the pre-draft stuff. Emory, you were awesome again last week. I didn't realize you laid down bets on 11 games last week. We were hustling through those games. You went 6-5. Well, hey, that's a winning week. That's a winning week. That's all you can ask. Anybody that listens to the show or watches us knows how hard it is to win betting, right? Mm-hmm. So Old Dominion, Western Kentucky, Emory, you had the over 51, 73. You destroyed that. South Florida, you took them getting 2.5 against Syracuse. They won 45-0. Air Force, you took them getting 2.5 against JMU. They won 31-21 yesterday. Utah State, Georgia State, you took the over 61.5. It went to 67. You took South Alabama -16. They won 59-10. And then Utah Northwestern, you took the under 41.5, Emory? 14-7. The final score was 14-7, 21 points. So on your totals, you killed it. It wasn't even close, and you won 3 of those against the spread. Take a bow, my friend.
And listen, these bowl games in this new era we've talked about before, it gets crazy because you don't know who's playing, who's not, who's in the transfer portal, yet who's still playing. Coaches left. It's crazy. And the trick for me so far this off season, or this bowl season, has been find a team that still has a lot to play for, a lot to prove, right? And it's usually the smaller school guys, or the G5 guys, or in the case of the Georgia Tech game, Georgia Tech has a lot more to play for than a UCF. So you take those guys, and that's how you kind of navigate through this weird bowl season that we're in right now.
No question. I would pick every game based on my interpretation of how badly the team is happy that they're there or want to be there and want to play. The ones you missed, Marshall UTSA, you took the over 53. It was 52. Missed it by 1 point. You took Troy -8. They lost 17-10. Who'd they lose to? I forget.
Duke.
Oh, yeah. That surprised me.
Right, thinking Duke didn't have anything to play for. Coach gone, quarterback gone, and Troy was, the Sun Belt champion, and boom.
Yeah, kudos to Duke. Georgia Tech, UCF, I was actually with some people watching that game, and they all had the over. I don't know if they listened to the show or not, Emory. They all had the over, and they were like, third quarter, they were not happy. They're like, we're not going to get there. It's not going to happen. That one was not even close. You took the under 53.5 for Arkansas State. I don't know. Jack has in parentheses 40 here. That would seem like a winner and not a loser. So might need some clarity from Jack via text message on that. And then San Jose State minus 10.5. That surprised me. I thought San Jose State would win that game against Coastal. No Grayson McCall plus Hawaii. Thought the Coastal kids would be hanging out. I guess they already live on the beach in Myrtle Beach, so maybe it wasn't that big a deal to them.
Right, and I'm thinking like, well, coach is gone, quarterback is gone, so it's like, San Jose State is actually a really good Mountain West squad, very solid on both sides of the ball, and I think halftime score was 7-0, so it's wild to see that they couldn't really get anything going against Coastal.
So let's do these games this week because there's a lot to get to. Speaking of games, by the way, you can get tickets to any of these games, Emory, on the Game Time app. I'm a huge fan of the Game Time app because you can actually see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. They give you the all-in prices up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out, and it literally takes like 2 seconds to just 2 taps to buy the tickets. Plus, the Game Time guarantee gives you peace of mind, right? You know you're always getting the best price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DRAFT for $20 off your first purchase. You can get tickets to tomorrow's game between the Giants and the Eagles. I'll be doing on Westwood One Radio. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code DRAFT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Emory, let's get into these games because there's a lot to get into over the course of next week. We'll start with the games on Tuesday. Bowling Green against Minnesota. Bowling Green's getting 3.5. Totals 39.5.
I'm going to take the over. I like Minnesota to have some success dominating up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Bowling Green can score, and they've had a really good season here in the MAC. So I feel like this game can go back and forth. Minnesota, I feel like, will win, but I like the over as the best play here in this one.
Emory taking over 39.5 for Bowling Green, Minnesota. Later on Tuesday, we've got Rice and Texas State. The Rice Owls are getting 4 points from Texas State. The total is 59.5.
Lay the points with Texas State and take the over. Texas State's offense is outstanding, and both offenses have been really good this year, so we should expect a lot of scoring. Texas State's defense hasn't been as good, so you can score on them. TJ Finley has put together a great year for the Bobcats, so I like this to go over, and I also like Texas State to win.
All right, so we got Texas State minus the 4 and the over 59.5. Ooh, this is a juicy matchup Tuesday night. UNLV and Kansas. UNLV's getting 13 points against Kansas, total 67.
Wow. We got go offense, and you got, Jason Bean at quarterback for Kansas, who's been excellent, stepping in when he had to for Jalen Daniels, who's a phenomenal player in and of himself. So for me, the over seems like the best play because points will start to. This game has the potential to go crazy. This could be another one of these games where it's like 70-something total points scored. Both teams really want to be there. You like how Kansas has found its sea level against, for Lance Leipold. And we see how much UNLV keeping their quarterback Mavia in the program and saying those rumors of him transferring was false. So he's going to play. This team, when the last time UNLV was in a bowl game, I believe, like 2012 or something like that. So, yes, both teams want to be there, so I like the over.
Over 67 from Emory for UNLV and Kansas. I can imagine a bunch of programs are trying to get Jaden Mayava. I mean, he's helped to change that program. He's a Vegas kid, and I want to say, because I did their game against Vandy, where Brumfield got hurt again, Mayava came in, and that changed everything. Him and Brennan Marion being the OC changed everything. But, he's the most heavily recruited quarterback UNLV, I think, has ever had, they said. But he wanted, they sold him on staying home and taking it to the next level, and he did that, and very good player. I kind of like UNLV in the points there, but I guess we'll see. What about Tulane and Virginia Tech? Now we're getting into some of these Wednesday games. Tulane's getting 10.5, probably because they lost their coach. Totals 44.5. Again, Tulane, Virginia Tech, Tulane getting 10.5.
And they lost Michael Pratt, who's preparing for the Senior Bowl NFL draft. But here's the thing. I don't feel like people remember what Tulane looked like against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Their backup came in there. He played really well. They should have beat Ole Miss. And they had a crucial non-call or bad call by the refs that kind of gave Ole Miss the ball back. And that's the reason why Tulane hadn't been undefeated up until the last couple games. So for me, I think you have to take Tulane in the points here. Although I'm a big Brent Pry guy, love what he has done at Virginia Tech. He's slowly working that program back to relevance. But I think this is a lot for a Tulane team that has a very good defensive line and a good backup quarterback and still have a lot of weapons out there on offense. So I'm taking them plus a points here against VT.
Yeah, I would agree with that because you're right. I was actually in New Orleans for that Saints game against the Titans when Tulane played Ole Miss down there, and Tulane was right there with them, even with Pratt out in that game. It's a good point. All right, speaking of teams and motivation, all that stuff, how about Wednesday night, West Virginia, or Wednesday afternoon, I guess, West Virginia, North Carolina. West Virginia is laying the 6.5. I can tell you who's out and who's not playing based on the betting lines for some of these games, Emory. Total's 54.
That's why I'm laying these points with West Virginia. We know Drake May is not playing, and we know North Carolina's defense hasn't been as good this year. So they'll give up a lot of points. West Virginia can get some stops. They've been better. I'm glad Neil Brown has been able to turn around this season. Remember, they had his obituary written already preseason, and he went out there and had a great year at West Virginia. And so I like that component coming into this ball game. I think they take care of business, so I'm going to lay these points here with the Mountaineers.
Emory laying the 6.5 with West Virginia against the Drake Mayless North Carolina Tar Heels. All right, Louisville is playing USC. Louisville is laying 7.5, which again tells you a lot about a lot. The total is 58.5. No Caleb Williams for the Trojans. Who is their next quarterback?
I don't know, because the freshman quarterback jumped in the portal as well. The 5-star.
And they're bringing in Will Howard.
Right. It's like, and there's no knock to Will Howard, but if you're the freshman quarterback, like you don't think you can beat out Will Howard? Like, come on, man. And so who is going to play?
I agree with that. Will Howard's a good player at Kansas State, but he's not like
USC.
I wouldn't run
right?
from him.
Right. Exactly. You can compete there. So, in Louisville, I can't trust their defense, to be honest. Plummer is solid, but Plummer is prone to turn the ball over. But in this spot, man, this is a hard game to actually handicap. So I will take the over because you got to factor in Louisville will find some points because it's still USC's defense. I know they made some changes or whatnot, but they still going to give up some points. But on the offensive side, you got to factor in the Lincoln Riley effect. There's still some playmakers at USC that can find their way into the end zone. Guys that don't have to opt out because they're not eligible to opt out for the draft already or be in the portal. So they'll find some points. So I think the over still is in play without their stars, Lloyd and Williams and all those guys playing. I still like this one to go over.
Emory likes the over 58.5 for Louisville and USC. I like HubSpot because in football, the fourth quarter is where the magic happens. It's where games are won, where champions are made. In business, it's where sales teams become legends. That's why HubSpot built Sales Hub to give sales reps the deal-making tools they need to win their Q4. Sales Hub's prospecting workspace organizes your schedule, goals, and to-do list in one place to save your team precious fourth quarter time. Smart sequences help sales reps close deals faster than ever. So get ready to dominate Q4 with Sales Hub. Learn more at HubSpot.com/sales. All right, Emory, How about this? This is like an old school Big 12 matchup. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. Oklahoma State is getting 2 points. The Aggies are favored. Total's 53.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Ollie Gordon and how he's going to run in this ball game. This is going to be a physical matchup, and the reason why I believe Texas A&M is favored here, based off how they played against LSU. And granted, LSU's defense is not the true barometer of how good an offense is, but they went out there just fresh off firing their head coach, Jimbo Fisher. Interim guys stepped in there and they played really well. Actually had a lead for a lot of that ball game. So I kind of like Texas A&M's ability to come into this matchup and having something to play. You have a team over there in Oklahoma State. Quarterback has been turnover prone, but they still have Ollie Gordon. This is going to be a good game, a good one to watch, a good football matchup, but I do like Texas A&M here. I'm going to lay these points.
Interesting. I'm a little surprised that A&M is favored. Is something else happening with Oklahoma State that I'm missing?
No, it's just not that good. That's about it. And again, their quarterback is someone that, veteran guy, but has put the ball in some bad situations. And A&M's defense actually played well against LSU for the most part before Jaden Daniels happened and continues just to thrive. But I don't see that passing game of Oklahoma State being a big, it's not like LSU's passing game. So they don't have that to worry about. They can really focus on stopping Ollie Gordon and being solid on the back end and winning this ball game.
What about Emory SMU laying 10 against Boston College?
Lay these 10. I feel like this is low. SMU got dudes. And Boston College, yes, Castellanos can scramble around and make some plays happen. He's going to be fun to watch. But man, like SMU, I don't want to say it's going to look like South Alabama, Eastern Michigan, but SMU is going to do a fantastic job of putting the ball in the end zone a lot against Boston College, man. Lay these points.
Emory laying the 10 with SMU against BC. How about Rutgers against Miami? I think it's the Pinstripe Bowl. Rutgers is getting a point. Total's 40.5.
Oh, 40.5. I'm focused more on the total. I think Rutgers can actually win this game. So I'm going to take Rutgers on the money line. I like Rutgers' defense. I like their ability to control both sides of the line of scrimmage. It's not about whether or not Miami's going to be up to play for it or whatnot. You're dealing with Rutgers and point of attack play in a physical game. They like to pull you down in the muck with them. So I feel like Rutgers can win this one. So I like them on the money line straight up.
I like Rutgers, and I like the under in that one. NC State, Kansas State. NC State is getting 2.5 points. Total's 47. Will Howard no longer with Kansas State.
And it probably won't matter, to be honest, because Kansas State is so fundamentally sound on both sides of the ball. They don't beat themselves. They got great special teams. This is one of the pure football teams in college football. And we know what we've seen already from NC State in terms of turnovers. Yes, Brennan Armstrong has played better, but lay these points with Kansas State. They'll be able to win this one outright as well.
Emory laying the 2.5 with Kansas State, likes the Wildcats to win outright. What about Arizona, Oklahoma? Arizona 14 in the country. Arizona is favored -3, total 62. Why did Dylan Gabriel leave Oklahoma, by the way?
Bro, listen, I've been, again, you could be a big fish wherever you are. Be where your feet are is what they say. And how much more college football do you want to play, and how much better do you think you can improve your draft stock? Now, granted, you probably heard from the advisory board, which is why it led to his decision to go to Oregon. But, I mean, at the end of the day, man, you played really well at Oklahoma. You were in the Heisman conversation at some point during the early parts of the season and middle of the season. Stay at Oklahoma, man. Show some continuity at a new place, because now if you go to Oregon and don't have the success, you're going to try to use the excuse of, well, I was learning a new system, playing in a new environment. Then why leave that environment? And
you must have just gotten a lot more money from Oregon.
Which is still, again, you understand that if you're making more than Brock Purdy, a lot of these college quarterbacks are, but it ruins the game. I feel like I hate that I've gotten to the get off my lawn portion of my age, because it's like, man, just stay where you at, man. But all that said, I do like the over here more so, because I feel like we should see a lot of points scored.
Over 62 for Emory, Arizona, Oklahoma. Kentucky's playing Clemson. Kentucky is getting 4.5. Totals 46.5.
See, I don't know if Ray Davis probably is not going to play. The outstanding tailback for Kentucky. He's probably getting ready for the Senior Bowl. But my goodness, man, like this is a really physical game. I'm gonna take the over. I feel like bowl game shenanigans. Clemson should be able to score. And without a Ray Davis, I feel like potentially Kentucky is going to be a little bit shorthanded, but I do like the over here to hit.
What about Oregon State, Notre Dame? Oregon State is getting 6.5. The total's 41.5.
Wow.
It's the Sun Bowl.
That's a low total, man. Oregon State, I guess because Oregon State, how they play, even though DJU is in the transfer portal again, their coach left. So he's going to Michigan State. And, their backup quarterback, who was also good, has transferred to Michigan State already.
Yeah, I saw that. Aiden Gillis or whatever.
Yeah, I could understand why Notre Dame is going to be, and Notre Dame is probably arguably the better team anyway. So lay these points with Notre Dame.
Emory laying the 6.5 for the Fighting Irish against the Beavers. Memphis, Iowa State. Memphis is getting 9.5. Totals 57.5.
I don't trust Iowa State's offense like that. I know Memphis defense can't really stop anybody, but they'll be able to score. Take Memphis in the points here. I feel like this one can go back and forth.
I agree with that one. Emory taking Memphis in the 9.5. Missouri, Ohio State. We're getting to some of the New Year's Six bowls. Ohio State's laying 1 point. Totals 49.
Kyle McCord's in the portal, transferred to Syracuse. Missouri can play, man. I'm a big Brady Cook fan. I like Cody Schrader. I like what they do up front defensively with those D tackles. I'm taking Missouri straight up here in this game.
Wow, yeah, Missouri's getting a point, but Emory likes Missouri to knock off the Buckeyes. What about Ole Miss and Penn State in the Peach Bowl, another New Year's Six bowl? Penn State's laying 4, totals 48.5.
Everyone is already talking about Ole Miss as a top 3 team next year, right? Based off what they're bringing in and what they have on the roster. And Penn State in bowl games have been solid. I feel like this is a team in Penn State that can win this one. I'm laying these points with Penn State. Penn State has been my team all season long. And this is another example of them, showing what the potential could be, man. So I think they take care of business here. A lot of their guys are still going to play in this bowl game. I like Penn State.
Emory laying the 4 with Penn State in the Peach Bowl. Maryland and Auburn. Maryland's getting 7 points, totals 46.
Maryland and Auburn, 46 points. Go over. I feel like this one could be a track meet. I know Talia Tungavaloa is trying to, petition for another season. But my goodness, man, again, like, haven't you played enough college football to where you want to try to, go pro? But again, if you're getting paid, why not, right? But I like the over here. I think we'll see a lot of points here. Good back and forth, high up-tempo, high-paced game with two offenses that can really, push it up and down the field.
All right, we got 2 more quick ones, Emory. Georgia, Florida State. Georgia's laying 14.5, totals 44.5.
Take Florida State in the points. Georgia is solid, but they're not 14 points solid against a team that's obviously they lost some guys in the portal, but this team is want to at least show some fight out there and beat the brakes off whoever is the opponent. And so Georgia will not cover this spread.
Florida State has a point to make. Lastly, Wyoming laying 4 against Toledo, totals 44.5.
Daquan Finn is in the portal. I don't think he plays in this game, so I'm laying these 4 with the Cowboys, giving Craig Bowl a nice send-off as he is retiring from coaching.
Yeah, especially if Finn doesn't play and they want to Bowl to go out the right way. I like that pick quite a bit, Emory. Check him out at F-Ball Game Plan. He's all over CBS Sports HQ all weekend. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We're at Ross Tucker Pod. The keg is kicked. We are all tapped out.
Thanks for tuning in to College Draft. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Even Money, and Fantasy Feast, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.